I'm Kendall Rick! One beloved Dum Dum! I'm Kendall Rick!
Story that we've been following that we want to talk about is now become known as Szechuan Gate.
Yes.
Patton, have you been following? Are you familiar with this?
You know what? I love that now Twitter lets you piece things together. You can reverse engineer it from the haiku of what's trending. And so and correct me if I'm wrong, Rick and Morty mentioned a Szechuan sauce that then people demanded from McDonald's, and McDonald's flippantly said, we don't have it, and then it's caused a huge...
Okay,
no. It was literally number one trending topic.
Here's what happened.
Here's what happened.
In the premiere episode for this season, which was...
I am so behind on all my TV right now.
Everybody was so crazy because it was
guys, I'm getting married and I'm moving. And my fiance, she's pretty amazing.
You don't have time to watch your shows.
I don't have time to watch
your stories.
That's true love.
This is what women do to you. This is what they do to you.
It is what they... You know what?
They don't just suck your biological essence. It's also your cultural essence.
Oh my God, Dave Sim was right.
When you finally get around to watching it, you're not going to be able to share memes with your friends because they're all going to be well past it.
Oh man,
that's what love does to you, man.
So in the first episode, by not watching, you're getting dumber.
Because that show is smart, and you learn from it. And if you don't watch it, you don't know things.
So tell me what happened.
Episode, Rick mentions this Szechuan dipping sauce that was a promotional for. Item for Mulan in 1997.
Right.
And it was like basically a sweet and sour dipping sauce. And he says, it was delicious, Morty, and they don't make it anymore. And at the end of the episode, he calls back to it and goes, my mission for this season, Morty, is to get that Szechuan sauce. I love it. It's the best. Parenthetically, it was not mentioned the rest of the season. It was a joke. Yeah. But the fans of the show, tethered to reality as they are, tightly, feet planted firmly on the ground, decided that they really wanted this sauce that all of them were too young to have ever had themselves. They weren't having real nostalgic yearnings for it. The cartoon man told them it was good.
The majority of them were born after the sauce.
Like the function of the joke was that this is an extremely arbitrary and esoteric reference.
The joke is this is not worth planting your feet about.
This is not worth caring about.
Right.
But they're like, actually, I'm a genius who watches Rick and Morty, and I understand the Straussian subtext, which is that it's actually the best food ever made, and I demand it. And so I guess some idiot, actually somebody in my DMs claims they know the guy who had this idea, who is going to be fired tomorrow, thought, hey, it'd be fun if we just put out some limited run, give selected stores like 20 packets and some posters, and have a fun little promotion. But when people found out that certain stores were going to have actual Szechuan sauce, they bum rushed every location. There were 2-hour lines all over the place. A lot of the stores said they didn't have it. A lot of the stores, they ran out immediately. And so there were hundreds and thousands of insanely pissed off nerds screaming about how McDonald's did not give them the Szechuan sauce that they had been promised.
Never get between a virgin and their condiments.
Yeah.
No. People were fighting. The police were called at several locations to guard the McDonald's.
Yes.
If they had more upper body strength, that could have been a real threat.
Yeah.
that is going to be a Red October.
But no, I think it will be, because this is the real revelation I had about this, is that, so you're a young subject of late capitalism. It doesn't work for you in any meaningful way. Your life is shit. You have 3 or 4 awful part-time jobs. You have no health insurance. You have $500,000 in unsecured student loan debt.
That you'll never pay off.
You have no future in any meaningful sense. All the avenues that you've been brought up to believe were going to lead to prosperity and stability in your life, gone. But the one thing that late capitalism promise is that every stupid, shitty, nostalgic or faux nostalgic indulgence you can have is yours at your fingertips. And my life is a fucking neoliberal hell, but I can't even get a fucking cup of Szechuan sauce?
Yeah, exactly.
Why the fuck am I still allowing the system to control me? We should burn it to the fucking ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As Virgil pointed out, there were several incidents of police being called to guard the McDonald's and break up fights over this, and just pressed up against the glass like Dawn of the Dead. Just like
but, the thing is,
just imagine the riot police firing those beanbag shotgun shell rounds at it's sort of death wave style attacks on the Szechuan sauce. But it was as Matt was saying, it's also a real lesson in artificial scarcity, because they only gave 20 packets of Szechuan sauce to each location, and people have found now like locations are just like, we never got the Szechuan sauce. People were pointing out a lot of this stuff is ending up like on a secondary market being sold for like $750.
If you work minimum wage at McDonald's
Yeah.
and you see 5,000 nerds outside your door for a small packet of these things, you can do the math.
Oh, yeah,
and be like, yeah, they're gone, or we didn't get them.
Right. And now they're in the... I just love the fact that in a couple of months, there's going to be some new employee at McDonald's, and there'll be a lunch rush on a Friday. And then at around 2:15, he'll like turn to his manager and go, man, that Friday lunch rush is crazy. And then it'll be like the night watch guy. Let me tell you about the Szechuan sauce thing. And it'll be that weird,
You know nothing,
cold,
Jon Snow.
howling wind, like, it was a couple of months ago.
I picture a Sam Elliott type.
Yeah, exactly.
Getting wistful.
Yes, it'll be Sam Elliott. Let me explain something to you.
There were hundreds of them. Nerds like you never seen. A lot of them were dressed up like their favorite cartoon show. They had blue hair. They had scientific coats for some reason.
That was the one day that I prayed to God and also was convinced he didn't exist.
I thought I was as depressed as I was going to get just watching the footage of these people getting mad and freaking out on Twitter and yelling. And the people talking about how many hours they'd driven. Somebody drove 6 hours. 6 hours from Canada.
No,
somebody pointed this out, and it really just put me into a deeper freeze of depression. Is okay, yeah, you spent 6 hours to get to this place. You waited in line for 2 hours. That sounds pathetic, but what the fuck else were these people going to be doing?
Yeah,
Like,
no, exactly.
Oh, no, now I'm not. All that time I could have been on the Rick and Morty subreddit explaining how Rick is actually an objectivist.
Oh my God, is that how they're going to control people in late capitalism? It just give them nostalgic missions?
Yes.
To
It's like,
distract them
people
from
are
the
getting
horror.
pissed about how like they can't pay for literally anything, and they can't.
Nostalgia.
I mean, isn't that
missions.
kind of
They'll live
already
with their
happening
life.
though? Like, have you been to a movie theater lately?
Yeah,
like,
it's
that's
true.
just all. We're just watching very terrible
This is an idea,
reboots.
like-
One thing to give people nothing but nostalgia, but yeah, the next step is giving them little treasure hunts.
No, literally.
Here's my idea. The U.S. government, like Trump Care, can create like an actual like ancient pirate ship in a pirate cove, like in Goonies, and be like, the healthcare is there, and 7 lucky Americans, if they go on the quest, can find it and get covered.
Well, it is weird how when someone is president, there is a thing that person affects the zeitgeist. So when Nixon was president, all of our films and TV were very paranoid.
Yeah, paranoid.
And then when Reagan was, it was very patriotic, Rambo. Bush, it was all torture porn, torture.
Yeah.
Torture, not just torture porn, heroic torture,
Yes.
24 and stuff like that. And now I'm noticing, and this hasn't happened yet, but not in a big way, but I saw the Florida Project a couple weeks ago. I saw Brawl and Cell Block 99.
Well, I'm looking forward
and
to that one.
And these are two totally different. The Florida Project is this gorgeous neo-realistic film. Brawl and Cell Block 99 is a action, gritty, but both of them very much address people being hopeless under late capitalism and having literally nothing to live for, and that motivates the plot because it's so inescapable what you're seeing people are going through. I think that is going to start leaking into our pop culture. There will be a summer blockbuster where the plot is about someone that I have nothing to lose. Let's just go do this. And that will spur the action. It won't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It won't be these international globetrotters. It'll be somebody going, I spent my welfare check for this month's worth of food and then something happened and now I got, people can... I'm telling you, it's just I'm seeing it leak into everywhere.
It's going to be the only relatable heroic motive for people anymore.
I think it was one of the reasons that really people grabbed on to Stranger Things. There's as much of again the '80s nostalgia.
Yeah.
That scene at the beginning where Winona Ryder is negotiating with her boss, like if you can give me 1 week advance, then I can keep and I think people are doing that so much now that I think that pulled a lot of people into the reality of the show. The fact that they did the one thing that Stephen King does, which he really understands the economics of living on nothing.
Yes.
And that's a part of the plot, and it makes the horror seem that much more real.